What's going on, man? All right, this is crazy, man. But this is a related topic, but then again, it's kind of this is me kind of putting things together, man. Trying to see if they connect, man. But you got that movie? I just did the movie about the gang war false flag, which I mean, a good example in Hollywood of a real thing that really happened is Blood In, Blood Out. But it was in that movie, The Warriors. Warriors, come out and play. That guy, right? This dude, he was in The Crow. You know what I'm saying? This guy that was in The Warriors. You know what I'm saying? He was the guy who actually shot the black dude, man. That was trying to unify all the gangs together, man. And it's crazy. It's the same thing, man, all over again. It's like the man who would be king, but it's not just the man who would be king. It's something else. There's something else going on here, but it's similar anyway. Because even in The Crow, there's a point where they're like, listen, if we hit the crow, if we kill the crow, it kills him. And then after they hit him, he starts to bleed, and it's like he's not a god. Like in the movie A Man Who Would Be King, Sean Connery is considered to be a god by these naive native locals who have all this gold and just want to give it to some guy. And it's crazy because that's really what happened basically in South America or in Mexico and all that with Cortez, man. And I mean, it's almost like Quetzalcoatl. A lot sounds like a Viking in a way. You know what I'm saying? And you can prove there was Vikings here in America. And what if a Viking came over, tricked people, and then told them this long mythology, and then in the future they could tell their grandsons, great grandsons, go over here to this land, and they'll give you all their gold because we fed them this. But then no, that's just a theory of mine, right? But here's something I did notice, man, that's connected to this. There was I was watching this movie. It was called the Flying Guillotines, and this movie's about this emperor in China who made this device that would chop people's head off from long range, and anyone who any distance at all would get murked basically. And it was the emperor, and he couldn't come out and do it, so he hired assassins to kill his dissonance so he could still look like a good emperor. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty crazy. But behind the emperor, there was a seal behind him, which was a big circle, and it had like a chickeny looking dragon in it. You know what I'm saying? And when I was looking at it, I said, that looks a lot like the Mayan little circle calendar seals or emblems, whatever you call them. And I'm like, dude, listen, this is the same. This is the same damn knowledge, man. But it's China, South America, or at least Mexico. That's the same dang knowledge. It would seem. And then I'm sure there's other places where you can the I Ching. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's China anyway. So it's you can find little traces of this everywhere. You know, and here's the thing: that whole CERN, the Shiva in the circle with the fire flames around it, and her on the inside, it looks like one of those Mayan things, and it also looks like that dragon in the China thing. In the China, so that stuff is a lot more connected. And then here's the thing: you look at the Jesuit sun logo with all the little squiggly lines and straight lines around it. The IHS circle sun, black sun, Odin logo. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? But back to these movies, how they relate. The Grace War false flag, I made a video about that. And I also made a video about the Screwface situation. And I've been also noticing how these dudes were talking about the retelling of the same story of the man who would be king. And I've been noticing it in Conan, and now I see it's kind of in the Warriors, and it's kind of in the Crow too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not it's different, but there's some elements, some overlapping elements that are in these movies. And even Screwface, like from Marked for Death, the Steven Seagal film. where there's a dude and he actually there's two of them. I mean, these dudes were twins in the movie, but look, let's think this day. Like, let's think of a stunt double clone, or just a stunt double, someone who looks like you, and you go do all the dangerous things while the real guy sits in the panic room, basically. You know what I'm saying? This is a very strategic thing to do. I mean, and think about it. Like, I even think like there was times like where a guy said, like there was guys who said they could just disappear into thin air, and they could disappear in one spot, and then they'd show up at the same time miles away. And oh my God, how did you do this? Well, what if they had a elaborate group of grifters, and they had a clone, not a clone of you, but just a imposter. And then you have him disappear in this location, and then you're really down at the other location when they thought that was you, but it wasn't. It was someone who looked like you, and you deceive the superstitious people into looking like you got these extreme powers. And it's a form of guruism. It's where you can confound people, whether it's through real skill or just clever trickery. It doesn't matter. The end result is people will look at you with reverence. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. And I mean, I even think to some extent all these retellings, these rituals are kind of is that. It's kind of like, look how big we are. Look how we tagged everything everywhere. You know what I'm saying? All along, and you were just unaware of it. I mean, that is part of it, is that once you come to the realization of how big it is and how long it's been going on, and you see it everywhere, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It intimidates you, and I think that's what it's meant to do. It's either meant to frustrate you, to deter you. It's meant to scare you, because also all that, it's like in a neighborhood where you see all like gang signs on the, you know that around there somewhere there's a hostile group, of locals. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know, if you ain't got a pass, man, it's best to avoid those type of areas. Same thing with these guys. You go, and all their symbolism is on, like, for instance, it's on the churches, it's on the courts, it's on the police buildings, it's in the schools, it's at the county parks, it's in the graveyards, it's in the kids' schoolwork. It's on the advertisement logos. It's in every single dang episode of every single show on TV. And then there's been old things where they've told you straight out what's going on. And it's crazy how everyone's oblivious that it's all been already telegraphed. It's been stated. It's been restated and overstated many times over. And so many people are unaware, or either that, there's two types of this. There's either unaware or and you're just quiet because you just throw up your hand signs and take your check. You know what I'm saying? And keep playing the devil's game, man. Your Illuminati cards, man. You know what I'm saying? Your Illuminati tarot card situation. It's crazy, but yeah, it's like, all right, you got Tupac, Biggie, how this was a real the Warriors gang war false flag situation. And in The Crow, it seems like they were kind of, it was barking up the same kind of tree, but just a different variation. And it's funny that the dude gets shot by a handgun, you know what I'm saying, and dies. Like listen, a multicultural guy, like the son of a very famous, the dude who bridged the gap between the East and the West initially, Bruce Lee. You know what I'm saying? Who's a trademark? Like that's that's what you call a national treasure. Like the crocodile hunter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that dude is a remarkable guy. I mean, any guy who was just kept that good of an attitude all the time, and he dealt with some dang ferocious creatures, and he enjoyed it, and that's why he's a national treasure. Because hey, we learned a lot about animals from the guy, and also just learned a lot about people. Like, dang, he was a happy guy, and I guess you can say, everyone say, oh, it's tragic how he died. No, man, dude actually, he died doing what he loved to do, what he was born to do, is mess with the animals, man. It's a dangerous job, man. But same thing, Bruce Lee, man. He was a national treasure, and but he was also, when you got someone like Bruce who's half American, half something else, you'll get hostilities. You know what I'm saying? And there'll be people that'll call you Uncle Tom, a traitor, a sellout, uh, to some extent. And sometimes it might be true, other times it's not. It's just fucking political shit. It's fucking weird, and it's the right and the wrong time. You know what I'm saying? You're in the right place, but it's the wrong time to be there. And then you're gonna be the guy. You're gonna be you're gonna be the Osama boogeyman character. In a certain culture or to certain people, you'll be the devil basically. So I mean, I mean, I'm not sure to what political extent was tied up, but it seems like all the symbolism was there in the Bruce Lee thing, and in that movie. Because here's the thing: so actors don't always have they don't have artistic freedom, or they're not that smart where they're making all them triangles and all these fucking different symbols. What it is they're just playing their role, saying their lines, and the whole crew is setting up this elaborate uh symbol, this symbolic soup. You know what I'm saying? And they're using the same schematic from other movies, and you can go through them, and you can kind of see, like, they're leaving. It's like that movie, the Ninth Gate. How there's the same book wrote, but there's one book is the right book out of each thing. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like this is how they do it in movies. They give you bits and pieces through all movies that relate to one particular story that they're trying to get out, like Man Who Would Be King. And they always, and that's got something to do with the Antichrist too. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Quetzalcoatl, uh, and then robbing the all the mines and all that. It seems like, but the whole gang war, false flag, and the Warriors. You got Brandon Lee got smoked in that movie, which had the dude from the Warriors in it that actually smoked the guy. You got that Steven Seagal Screwface situation where I believe that's exactly what it says in the Bible about the beast shall receive a head wound, but miraculously shall be healed. Uh, so I think they telegraphed that, and then also, let's say if they can turn it into a race war too. So if you hit an ethnic person in the false flag, it's gonna inspire even some racial backlash. And I think that's the point. That's what they wanted all along. They've subconsciously showed you the same kind of thing in the movie, like Conan. He walks up on a black dude, chops off his head. You know what I'm saying, and throws it down the pyramid. You know, it's 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 funking crazy. Like how deep that is, but there's a movie called Hollywood, or a documentary called Hollywood Insiders, man, and I think it's called Illuminati Stars. I mean, but they got like 4 or 5 documentaries, man. They're like 2 hours or an hour and a half a piece, and they basically teach you the schematic, and then now you can use that overlay template to look at you overlay it on any movie and see where it lines up, and you'll be surprised how when you hear that saying, "There's nothing new under the sun." When it comes to Hollywood, man, it's so true. They literally tell you the same stories over and over and over again. They just kind of shuffle the deck a little bit, but it comes out to be the same fucking story, just with minor alterations. You know what I'm saying? And they're telling you something. It's like the Manly P. Hall. You know what I'm saying? And they're telling you the Reagan. Don't you know how fast that we would let go of our differences if we had an outside threat? And then I mean, there's all kinds of different things. I mean, but that's the thing. It's 1,000 points of light. That means there's 1,000 different angles that they're working at you. You know what I'm saying with this thing, or you can say it's Hydra. So it's an entity with many arms, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's all connected to one beast. And they love to put little clues, man. They love to leave little clues to drive you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Basically, in all these movies, and then it just through all of the world. your whole reality is just tagged up by the occult, dude, and you won't know until you know.